In this quick video, we're going to look at 3 different ways to set up collaborative Google Slides for your students. So this means all of the students are going to be on one Google Slides presentation. The first option, and we're going to use a get to know you at the beginning of the year as an example, the first option is to have every single student duplicate the slide template and create one of their own. So you might choose to leave some instructions for your students on the title slide. For instance, here, I'm going to right-click on the template slide. So as the teacher, I've just simply set up the title slide and one template for every student. The student's instructions are to right-click and choose Duplicate Slide. And then they're going to go in and fill in their own name here. So each student will have their own slide, and they'll fill in their responses. This is a great opportunity for students to go in and leave each other feedback as well. So after I fill in mine, I could go in and I could add comments to the slides. And you can give the students some direction on how you want them to leave feedback. Maybe this is something they liked, something they could improve upon. That's up to the teacher in order to give the feedback guidelines. Okay, step number 2 is to go ahead and instead of creating a template, and I've seen this a lot, especially in elementary, is to go ahead and leave number slides so that every student has maybe a class number, or to go in and put, if you only have a certain amount of students, to go ahead and put their names on the slides. So you could go ahead and set up these for your students so that they're not duplicating, but so they're already in order, and the student's job is to go to their slide number. So that would help. And honestly, you could probably, if you do this, you could leave off the title slide, and that way student 1 will know that they are slide 1, and that is their slide to go interact on. And this is just an example of a template that was used, so maybe something I've learned about the main idea, something I'm confused about, and then you see students who are leaving their feedback here. So it's up to you whether their students are duplicating the slide or whether they are already assigned to the specific student. So now we're going to look at option number 3, which is using the Slide Master.
Slide Master can be helpful for several different reasons. The first one being that you might not want students to be able to edit certain parts of the screen. This is very helpful for our younger learners who sometimes can go in and accidentally take out text boxes or take out images when they're trying to type on top of them. The Slide Master will also allow you to add text boxes that students directly type in as opposed to inserting their own text boxes. Another reason Slide Master can be helpful is that students can go in and insert template slides. For instance, I could have one, instead of saying title only, I could have an option that's a KWL chart, which we'll create here in a second. Or possibly they're going to be in a certain group, so they're going to add the group 1 slide or group 2 slide, and you can have those already set up for students. So let's look how to do this. I'm going to first go to Slide and then Edit Master. It's very important to see that these are all of the slides currently available for students. You'll also notice that they are titled. So this one's blue and gold title slide. It's really important that you go in and title these slides. That way you know which slides are available in your presentation. Something that's unique to Slide Master is that these text boxes are the text boxes that are readily available to students, but I can't edit out what this says. So it will say for students, click to edit the master title, and that's where they will add their text. So we're going to go ahead and make this one a KWL chart so we can see it. So I'm going to rename this KWL chart. Okay, for this one, I'm going to want 3 different sections that students are going to type in. So here I'm editing just like I would in Google Slides. So I'm actually going to insert a shape, and I'm going to make this 3 different columns. So I'll go ahead and edit this. As I'm adding here, note that the order is really important. So maybe I want to send this to the back so that I still have this text that I want available for students. So I am going to move this text, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add text that they cannot edit. So here I'm going to add a text box. Students won't be able to add any of the text boxes I add manually. So this is what I know, and I'll add the other 2. Notice that I'm able to choose my colors, my fonts, my sizes. I was even able to change the color in the font of this Slide Master text box. I'm just not able to change what that says. So I'm just using Control C and Control V to quickly copy these and move them over. So let's take a peek at our template real quick. So I'm going to get out of the Slide Master. Notice that now we can add the KWL chart template. Students cannot edit any of this text. They can only type in what they know, want to know, and what they've learned. It's important to note that there are still a lot of options here for students. You'll probably want to go out and take out any template slides that you don't want. That way they just have the few that they need. So we can go back into the master slide. I've got my KWL chart. I want to pay attention to one other thing too. You'll notice that there's these little details that are already available in the template that I've chosen. You might want to take out those. And you could even use maybe the blank slide if you don't really want any of those extra things there. What I could do is if I wanted text here, I could actually copy one of these text boxes and add it to one of the slides that I want to. So we're going to go ahead and make a group 1, group 2 slide just to see some of the other options. So right here, I'm going to move this. Remember that this text right here that's already available to students, they can edit, and I can change the size. I just can't change what it says. So it's going to say click here to edit title, and this is where they would go in and maybe put their names. So they won't be able to edit the text boxes that I manually add. So for here, I'm going to put group names. Okay, I'll change the font of this, and then we'll talk about this text box here because it's a little bit different. Okay, so we have a place for group names. They'll only be able to edit here, and I'm going to take out these little details because I don't necessarily want them on my slide. Now this right here, this is just an insert text slide. However, they place it in levels. So I can move this. It's a big place of text way for them to insert, but I can't take out these levels. Instead, they're just going to see insert text. So you could change the size of their font. Right now, I think I have it at 20. Oh, I even had it even smaller than that. We'll put it at 14. So I can leave this here. I could even change background colors. So I could come in and change this to be orange. I could duplicate it, and then I could let the group know what it is that I want them to type in here. I just can't change what this says, and that can be kind of confusing because this is a lot of words, but you'll see what it looks like here when we go back to look at our template. Remember, I'm definitely going to want to title this, so I'm going to rename this one to be group 1. All right, I'm going to work on the look of this real quick. So you can see that this is group 1, and then I can actually duplicate my layout, and I can make this one group 2, and then I can even change the colors so that I can tell from the slides at first glance whose slide I'm looking at. And then we could do the same thing for group 3. Okay? Okay, now I have all my slides set up. I am actually going to take out any of the templates that I am not going to use. So I have them all titled. I'm not going to give them options for the other ones, and I might stick this and keep it a title slide. So now you can see our slides. Notice that there's some detailing here, this little teal bar. That's something I probably want to get rid of in the slide master. Sometimes these templates are a little more detailed than what you want, so you might start with something a little cleaner. But you can see right here, this is very clean. Students can go in if they're group 2 and add their slide. They can only edit in the text boxes I've provided. They can resize these. It's just nice that the text box is already there for them and they're not having to insert. And then they can't edit any of the text or images that I add on the background. So you can think about all the ways to use this. This could be providing a Venn diagram or thinking map template. Maybe for feedback, you've got a portion for student work, and then you've also got a part for peer feedback and teacher feedback. So there's a lot of different ways to use SlideMaster. The advantage of having groups or different sections here is it could be great for feedback. Possibly I'm in group 2 and then the teacher says I need to comment on 2 other groups or 2 other people, and just by that color change, that's easy for me to see. The most important thing about SlideMaster is that you name your slide templates and that you do this at the beginning. If you start setting up, then you might be changing up the master on a slide that already has some content. So it's really best practice to set up the template slides before you start adding content to your slides. One quick way to change the template for students is to edit the background, because students can't edit the background of a slide really easily like they could an image. So rather than going to insert an image, I'm going to right click on a slide and I'm going to choose change background. I've actually got an image saved to my desktop, so for now I'm going to use a KWL chart. Okay, so now you can see I have a KWL chart, and students cannot edit this image unless they were to right click and go to change background. So that makes this background really nice. Students will need to go in and add their own text boxes unless you add a text box here and you type in something like insert your topic. Then students would know to click here, take this off, and then add their topic. So you could create a background slide, and then you could even have a title slide here that has every student duplicate their own. You could send this out as a template in Google Classroom, but editing the background is a good way to provide some structure for your students as well. And then, like I said, I can insert text boxes and then have something here for students, and I can still change even the colors if you want a different color in each one of them. Now, if students wanted to accidentally take this away, they could, but they wouldn't be able to change that background. I recommend this option for younger elementary when you just want 1 or 2 slides and you want to provide some structure for students. So the main thing they would need to know here is that they would be taking out this text and then typing in their own.